Public here, or second public here. Commissioner Fannin.
Everyone please stand for a prayer. And before we have a prayer, I gotta say something real important. So you need to listen up. You know what tomorrow is, guys. If you hadn't done anything, you better stop by the store before you go home. Because I just want to remind you, tomorrow is the day. Valentine's Day. Early Valentine's. So happy early Valentine's to everybody. And just remember that. All right, let's bow our heads in prayer. Lord gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for all your blessings of life. Thank you for this crowd, Lord, here tonight. And Lord, we know that you told us in your word to love one another. Help us to get along tonight, Lord. And we know there's things that can be contentious. Lord, help us to use wisdom to do it in a righteous manner, Lord. And Lord, we also said that help us to remember that in your word also, you said no greater love than someone that lays down his life for his brothers and sisters. And you did that on the cross, Lord. Thank you so much for loving us more than we could ever love anybody else, Lord. Just help us to be the people you want us to be, Lord. Thank you now for the fellow commissioners that we work good together, and help us to work good with these fine people that came out tonight. Lord, for the betterment of your kingdom, the betterment of Fannin County. We ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. How are you? So, believe it or not, we do appreciate everybody coming out today. It's always good to hear from the community as we try to make the right decisions moving forward here in this county. And, we always, every ordinance we've looked at and, had a public hearing on, we've always tried to listen to our community. And I want everybody to understand that. We're not here to try to hurt anybody. And I hope everybody left their pocket knives downstairs. If you're not, I need to borrow one or whatever. But how we'll do this, obviously I think a lot of folks are going to speak. We do have a clock set up for 5 minutes. If you would, come up here and tell us your name, where you live at. Don't have to give me an address or nothing like that. But, and then just kind of tell us your concerns or your suggestions. We're all about suggestions, solutions. I'm not perfect by any means, and I'll be the first one to take it to that. And if anybody thinks different, we'll go talk afterwards or whatever, but I'm not. So if anybody's got anything to say, please come up, tell us who you are, and the first one we'll go over is our land development ordinance. I think that's the biggest one on the market right now. So anybody, Mr. Bishop?
Mr. Chairman, Post Commissioners, you may recall the last meeting, I came up and said that I had read through the draft and found several things that I thought were impractical and were not working in Fannin County. And subject to that, I've been to several meetings, and I want to publicly thank Marie Woody and Zach. They have been more, he was on the planning commission likewise. I attended meetings with them, and I had five other surveyors with me, so it's just not Lane Bishop talking. I feel like I do represent the surveyors. And we did find some things that we wanted to be revised. And they were very cooperative and basically agreed that we had brought out some good points. And I think that I've been out of my office all day, just got in, and I briefly read through the revised draft, and I think it's a good draft. I think will involve all the people that should be involved. And I would say this respectfully, anytime I think we have a committee in this county, that you should have a stakeholder from each group involved. And that really was not done on this. And I think that was something that could have been done, that could have saved probably some situations that did come up that would not have come up. So I would just ask you respectfully, the next time you have a committee, put the stakeholders, the people involved in, and certainly surveyors, we're involved in everything development-wise in this county. So with that said and done, I personally think that the new draft is sufficient. It protects the developers, builders, it protects the property owners, and I think it will help Fannin County.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Lane.
Incidentally, one other thing, I did go to the fire department too. I see him sitting there.
Yeah.
Cause I tried to do what I said. I tried to cover all the people involved. I personally went to the fire department, got with Larry and got with Rob here. And there's a couple of things on there on these grades. We want to be sure these fire trucks can get up on these steep grades and put out people's fires if they need to. But I don't know what he may or may not say here, but he knows that I did go up and he's in agreement, and we're in agreement with the fire department. I would say that.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Are those revisions that Lane mentioned now, are they in this, are they, is it updated in this ordinance right now? Those changes
No,
that Lane made?
it is not, because we did have
Okay, are we gonna have to have another public meeting about the revision? We will?
We
I
will
can't
do our
speak
best
to
to
that.
make sure that happens.
It will be updated on the website tomorrow morning.
But you will have another.
We'll have another go. In my mind, we will, absolutely. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Ann Hilton, and I live in Cleary, Georgia. And I request that we follow the Georgia law for Erosion and Sedimentation Act. It's OCGA 12-71. It requires a 50-foot buffer for a trout stream, which we all know our Blue Ridge is a trout county. Fannin County is. It says local issuing authorities may require additional buffers. And I would have printed this off, but my printer died. So it says, no land disturbances shall be conducted within a buffer, and a buffer shall remain undisturbed until the land disturbances on the site are completed, which I think this is backwards from what's been happening. I think the builders clear the land to the creek or the branch or whatever, then they landscape after the building's done. It states, it's Georgia law, that it be landscaped after the building is done. So it says, once a final stabilization of the site is achieved, a buffer may be trimmed or thinned as long as the natural canopy is left in sufficient quantity. For single-family construction, thinning or trimming of the buffer is allowed as a sufficient quantity. This is number 16. Land disturbances shall not be conducted within 50 horizontal feet as measured from the point where the vegetation has been arrested by a normal stream flow. Any state waters classified as trout streams pursuant to the Georgia Water Quality Control Act, except for a roadway drainage structure must be constructed, provided that streams classified as trout streams, which discharge an average annual flow of 25 gallons per minute or less, may be piped by the landowner. There's more information on page 183 of the Field Guide for Erosion and Sedimentation and 185 on the permit. This is Georgia Soil and Water Conservation Commission document list is where you find this. The buffer per OCGA 12-7-3 in parentheses 2. The area of the land immediately adjacent to the banks of the state waters in a natural state of vegetation which facilitates, when properly vegetated, the protection of water quality and aquatic habitat. The state mandated stream buffers are measured horizontally from the point where the vegetation has been rested by the normal stream flow. I'm gonna skip some of this because it repeats itself. Required 50-foot buffer for cold water trout streams. Your manual is referred to, this manual is referred to in your ordinances.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Michelle.
Anyone else?
Hey, I'm Jane Haddo. I've lived here for 29 years, up more toward Culberson than anything else. But I came to Fannin County because it's gorgeous. And now lately I've seen exponential growth, and we've all seen it. And what makes me wonder what it's going to look like in the next 29 years if we don't do anything about it. So I see two big problems close to my heart. The cutting of trees off of the ridge destroys that gorgeous undulating line that defines the mountains. And I don't want to see it. I want to see that line. And two, allowing houses to be built that are so tall that they stretch up above the tree line and destroy that undulating line again. So I want to see the natural beauty of Fannin County maintained. So make some regulations. Please don't destroy God's artwork.
Thank you, ma'am. Someone else? Anyone? All right, we'll move on from the land development ordinance to the building and electrical ordinance. Anyone here want to speak on the building and electrical ordinance? Anyone? Okay, move to the driveway ordinance. Anyone here like to come up and speak on the driveway ordinance? Surely there's somebody who wants to come up here and speak. Now's the time. Yes, sir. And this on the driveway ordinance?
Yeah.
Okay.
My name's Jeff Barrett, and I'm a resident here in Fannin County. On the driveway ordinance, if, just a question about liability. If someone, say from Florida, buys a property up here, sight unseen, which happens fairly often, I believe, and they are not aware if this 16% grade happens in the ordinance. If they're not aware of that, can the seller, the real estate agent, anyone be held liable if that happens?
Well, you know, that's a good question, and unfortunately, our county attorney hasn't made it yet. I'm sure she got busy with something. But if you would, and you're more welcome to write your phone number on here, and I will find that out and call you back.
Okay.
Okay? So, I mean, if you have another question.
No, that's it.
Okay. I'm just gonna let you write your number right now.
Thank you.
And I will follow up with you on that question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else on the driveway ordinance? bring us down to the E911 ordinance. Does anybody here want to speak on the E911 ordinance? Okay. Number 6 is the dilapidated building ordinance. Anybody want to talk about the dilapidated building ordinance? I had to get Marie to say that word to me 2 or 3 times before I could pronounce it. Number 7, the manufactured home ordinance. Anybody? All right, number 8, mobile home and recreational vehicle parks ordinance. My favorite, scrap tire ordinance. Anybody on the scrap tire ordinance? All I can ask is, please don't stack them on the side of the road.
I have full of gas.
Where did that before?
I think they're gonna let it.
They're gone, they can pick that, yes.
They
Yes,
were
they
nice
have.
enough to stack them up, nice and neat. when they were
And
there.
they were told to pick them up too.
So I will say this, I know, Ms. Woody is working on a grant for us to do something like that, so everybody kind of be looking for that to come here shortly, okay? Well, I hope sooner than later, so we'll see how that goes. The septic ordinance. Anybody here want to talk about the septic ordinance? Anybody? Okay. Anybody here on the sign ordinance? Anybody here on the sign ordinance? Anybody here on the solid waste ordinance? Anybody here for the speed limit ordinance and the speed zone ordinance? Nobody. Before we move on, of course, that's the last one we'd be talking about today. I wanna go back to number 2, the land development ordinance again. Cause if, I wanna give everybody every opportunity in the world to talk about these again, all right? So if anybody does have anything, any questions, any suggestions, any solutions, anything like that, please come to us. And, yes, ma'am,
I am so sorry, because I have not read the ordinance.
sure.
But I wrote y'all an email, and I think it bombarded y'all because that wouldn't go through, and I sent it to each one of you like 7 times.
What's your name, ma'am?
My name's Kathy Mann,
Okay.
and, property near me is being developed, and I'm not opposed to development, or the developers. But they are building a subdivision with at least 15 houses.
Like your microphone a little bit.
Come on up
Okay,
here.
so sorry.
Start over, too. Please.
My name's Kathy Mann, and they are building a subdivision by my house. And so I wrote y'all an email, and Marie Woody an email too, to ask them if I had a leg to stand on, because I'm not opposed to them building a subdivision on the property that they bought that's below me. It used to belong to us. But it doesn't belong to us anymore, nor does my driveway. My driveway is about a half a mile long, and now it's an easement for my house and for the people that bought our property. And so they sold it down to a developer, and that developer has that same easement down to his subdivision. The subdivision is gonna have at least 15 houses on it. They start at $1.2 million, and they will be using my 1-lane driveway that has no place to pull over, no place to pass another car. It has dips and curves that at some point, there are 2 places where a truck is actually missing, it's invisible. You know, so my question to y'all then was, how can this be? How can a subdivision be allowed to build down what was truly a driveway built 50 years ago when we moved here, and now have a subdivision built on it? I can't imagine 15 houses and all of the things that are involved with living there coming down that one-lane driveway. And so my question was, how can that be allowed? Why shouldn't they have an entrance into a subdivision that would accommodate the cars and the gas trucks and the utility trucks that come with the subdivision?
Ms. Mann, was there ever an easement that was given?
The easement is our old driveway.
But it is an easement, right?
It is an easement, but it's a one-lane easement. So there's no restrictions on the volume of people that can come down this one-lane driveway. And to me, that seems odd. So anyway, that's my comment. I sent y'all an email. I never heard back from you. Marie said, you know, basically, they wish it wasn't that way, but it is. But y'all are the ones that are in charge,
Well,
so.
we just felt that was a civil issue, and for me speaking personally, I just felt that was a civil issue, because if there was an easement given at any given time, and it leads to that property, then that changes things.
Well, the easement should be adequate, though. You know, an easement to my one house is one thing, but an easement to 15 more houses is a whole nother conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mann.
Thank you.
I guess I'll go.
Go on.
People don't need me at the microphone to hear me, I think. I can speak pretty clearly, but I will come up here. My name's Barry Ross. I live at Mineral Bluff. And several years ago, when a lot of these first ordinances were passed, I stood up here and defended the farmers and the large landowners that were in the county. And I can honestly say, after all these years, it didn't do a bit of good. I sat down with the ordinances, and I told my wife, as I went through each one of them, and I have knowledge of every one of them, I can't see anything in here that's good for the local people. Subdivisions are going to be built. They're going to use driveways, and if I'm not mistaken, me and my father-in-law cut your driveway.
You did help my husband cut our
When it's
driveway,
done.
you sure did.
They're going to build on the ridges. You can't stop it. It's going to happen. Lane Bishop knows what it's like to survey a road in, and it's like this. Robert knows what it's like going up those. So who pays the price? It all comes down to money at some point. If you've got the money, it's going to be done. That house is going to be built on that ridge. I told my wife after 20 pages of things that I'd like to see changed in these ordinances, I quit. And I told her at the end of the time that what would be most appropriate would be a eulogy. A eulogy for local people, for people that are legitimately trying to make a living, putting in septic tanks, cutting in driveways, but it all comes down to money. Everything that I saw in here makes it harder for local people. Now, I'm not opposed to anybody moving in here, and I'm a firm believer in property rights. If you've got property, you should be able to do pretty much anything that you want to do with it.
Amen.
And if you can't do that with it, why do you pay taxes? I'd like to applaud the Fannin commissioners for keeping us some of the lowest property taxes that they are. Am I got it going over 5 minutes yet? You stop.
No, you're
if you
fine.
want to. Go ahead. It's like in church. When I get up and go to talking, somebody says, well, you're preaching. Well, maybe I am. But like I said, a few years ago, I stood up here in defense of the farmers and large landowners. They're getting fewer and fewer and fewer every day. From what I've seen in here, local people with low incomes that are working up here at Bojangles, working for the county, road department, other agencies. Those people are living, and I don't mean to put off on them, but I know lots of them that are living from paycheck to paycheck. How are you gonna come in here with failure to have a permit, and if you, the fine is 10 times what the permit is if you have a failure? 10 times. You know, page after page that I found, that's the only people it's gonna hurt is the people that can afford it the least. That's what I'd like to see. I've got all kind of comments in here for septic tanks. You don't need somebody coming in telling you how to run this county. You don't need to incorporate rules from other counties like Cherokee County, Cobb County, even Whitfield County and Murray County. It don't apply. It don't apply to us. Don't incorporate all kinds of ordinances that's gonna affect us that may not affect them. Let me give you an example. I don't know if anybody ever here drank out of a spring. You know what that is? Anybody? Do you know that one of the regulations from one of the other counties, if you incorporate their rules, you have to have your water tested before you can have a CO. If you drink out of a spring, in my years at the health department, you know how many springs passed inspection? 0. You can't drink out of a spring if you go by their ordinances that another county imposed on you because you incorporated it in here. Surveying. If a survey has to put contour lines every 2 feet, 10 feet, 8 feet, what's it gonna be, Lane? Every 2 feet. Contour lines.
It can go up to 5 in certain situations.
You know, that's incorporating stuff from other jurisdictions, other ordinances from other counties. This is Fannin County. What you do here is going to affect everybody. And the bottom line is money. If Lane has to charge $600 a lot, somebody's going to pay that.
I hope.
Somebody will pay that. Because we know, can you hear me all right? Yeah. Somebody's gonna pay that. I can't pay it. Somebody's gonna pay it. And what does it do? Raises the value of the property. You can't stop development. You can't stop it. It's gonna happen. All I'm saying is, educate yourself. Know what you're doing. The health department says nitrogen levels in the soil is going to affect the streams. 2 miles from the stream. What does that mean? Nitrogen levels in the, you know. When I worked at the health department, there's 2 things that I had to do. They asked me if you could still have an outhouse. Now that's been 40 years ago. But I had to guarantee the commissioners at that time, if you still wanted an outhouse, you could have an outhouse. Number two, was I had to go to Tri-State and guarantee them that if they accidentally hooked somebody up without the septic tank being approved, that they would not pay a $500 fine. That was my responsibility. I had to go judiciously and handle that. We didn't use Tri-State, or Amicalola Falls, or Blue Ridge Mountain to enforce the septic tank rules. Robert Sotheby, I thought, was gonna whoop me. He said, what do you mean passing to something that's gonna be a $500 fine? Did I run over yet? Tri-State's not gonna pay a $500 fine. I said, Robert, you don't worry about that. It's just in the language. I said, when it comes down to that, it's my job to take care of that. I hope I haven't went over too far. And I hope locals won't go the way of farmers, large property owners.
Thank you. You know, it's good to hear that, Barry, and that's, all jokes aside, that's why we're here, is to try to make the best decisions moving forward.
I know there's more people that you would like to speak to.
Oh, yeah, and I wish it would, honestly, because we sure would like to hear it, because, you know, there's so much that gets said and things like that, and then next thing, and it just is what it is. But I'd like to hear from everybody, so if you didn't speak tonight, okay, and I think if you don't have my email address, it's on the website, call me. I think about 90% of you's in here have my phone number, and you're more than welcome to call me anytime. And we can sit down and discuss anything. And when I say bring solutions, you know, bring me suggestions, that's what I mean. I mean, we're not here to try to hurt anybody. We need to hear from you, because that's the only way, and I'm speaking for, maybe out of turn for all of us, but I'm speaking.
No, you're okay.
But that's the only way we can make the best decisions moving forward, is to hear from our people in the community. I mean, we can sit up here and put something on paper, and Lord God knows there's been some stuff put on paper that's like, yeah, we can't do, you know. But at the end of the day, if we hear something, we can sit there and start saying, can it work or can't it work? And that's all we're here to try to do, is to try to figure out. And a lot of these, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, these ordinances, you know, they need to be revisited. There's some that haven't been looked at in 40 years. And there may be some of the verbiage that has changed on it that makes it not legal per se. And we have to look at them from time to time to make sure that we're up with state regulations, or that some wording hadn't changed to where if somebody needed to enforce something, well, now you can't because the verbiage has changed. You know, we went from where far out there to here too, you know, and I ain't got a clue what all that stuff means, I'm just saying. But, you know, that's why we're trying to make the best decision moving forward. So, do you have something back there?
Yeah, Barry, I appreciate what you said. Let me clarify one thing though, before somebody starts jumping on to me. The 10 times building permit fee, that's if you get caught the third time. The first time, we may double it. Second time, it may be 5 times. If you're caught 3 times building without a permit, you know by then you need a permit. It's going to be 10 times the amount. Just needed to clarify that.
Anybody wants to jump on somebody, don't mind the mule load wagon, I can. So,
I appreciate it's him that they're jumping on instead of me anymore. I don't like the idea of levies on property. I don't like the idea of astronomical fines, even if it's 3 times. I don't like fines at all. I don't like taxes. but I have to pay those.
Yeah.
You know, I drive them, you know, and I'm not getting on the Keith about anything or whatever like that, cause I know what he's up against. You too.
Commissioners and fellow citizens here, we do not have the updated version of the land development ordinance online yet. We will have it tomorrow, as soon as Patrick can get it on there, so everybody can go and review it. Then if you have questions, of course Jamie's opened the door for himself, so
I can open my door too.
if anybody has questions or anything. So anything that we've updated as of today is not on the website, but it will be. So all the old ordinances are online. Sorry if I'm, all the old ordinances online, and if you go to needs to know, it's on our website. It's a blue block and it says needs to know, and all the new proposed ordinances is on the website at that location. It's under needs to know. So anything that we've updated from what we previously had will be updated tomorrow, Lord willing, if nothing happens. Thank you.
Thank you.
You got another question right there in the back?
I'm Joe Webb. I live in Dial and have been a property owner here for over 40 years. I've also done minor building, minor development, and a lot of other things. Last year in November, well, a year and a half ago in November, the commission appointed 2 citizens, and we tried to get a varied group of builders, realtors, people who could understand things. And our charter is I'd like to thank you all for coming today and your commitment to helping in the process of protecting Fannin County as we move forward. Our committee literally took the mountain protection ordinance of the state of Georgia as our model, and we literally spent hours and hours researching around it. Our committee would be happy to basically have workshops, meet with the public on our section. What we see is there are actually 3 things going on here at the same time. One is we have to enact state law, and most of that's in the water and things of that nature. Once we get to public safety, yes, we have more discretion, and that's another subject. Should a fire truck basically not have to back up twice to turn a radius of a cul-de-sac built development? The answer is probably ought not to. But again, that's our discretion. So public safety is another component of this. Then you finally get to mountain protection. Now, we were sort of ahead of the curve because we were working with the health department after the state law had been passed, looking at what they were going to implement. And Commissioner Hensley basically came into our meeting 2 or 3 times. He was at the full first meeting, the full last meeting. We literally read these things out loud to each other to make sure we all understood it. There was literally among 6 people a unanimous decision every single time. Now, Anita Weaver was supposed to be making this speech, not myself tonight. She's had some health problems and obviously couldn't make it tonight. I talked to her yesterday. She planned to be here. Our thought is all this needs further discussion. And we asked it, literally, we sort of break it into segments. The things that are law, we have to do. The things that are discretionary within public safety. And then let's overview what we want to do to protect our natural environment. So that's sort of where we are now. Anita and I have talked, we've emailed the committee. We are ready to reconvene in workshops, discussions. So our advice on land is further discussion. Thank you.
So, Joe, if you come back just a minute, I have
Sure.
a question for you. And I know some of the builders have concerns about the ridge line.
Absolutely.
The first thing on page 42, number 8, said a structure shall be set back 100 feet from the ridge line. Can you discuss that a little bit and why it's picked 100 feet? And I appreciate the lady earlier talking about keeping the beauty of Fannin County.
And be happy to do that, and again, I'll have to name names as I do this, because people came to us and told us things. And one of them was Keith back here. When he met with our committee, he told us, the only way we're ever gonna protect the ridge line is set back from the ridge line. We as committee looked at that and said, okay, we set back from rivers, by law. It would make sense that we also set back from ridge lines. If we're trying to protect ridge lines, that's the thought. How we get to 100 feet, how we basically model out the heights against that, that's very technical detail. And again, there was a huge amount of discussion on this. There's a huge amount of documentation. And that's why I say further discussion, we would be happy to sit down with anyone and go over how we got to our process. And I think the Lilly Commissioner asked some of the same questions in the meetings. So I think literally, Anita Weaver, literally, is one of the senior lenders ever in Fannin County to the building industry. She knows that side of it. We had builders, we had realtors. Amber Twiggs is Joe Simpson's granddaughter. She was on the committee. She's also in the sheriff's department. She told us the story of when the family basically first arrived at Beach Mountain, when that huge hotel showed up, the car stopped, and there was a lot of anger for what they saw. And literally, the state of North Carolina had passed nothing at that time and got real active. Well, Jim and Joe Sissons actually went down to Atlanta and asked the government to pass the mountain protection ordinance. And what they did was an average ordinance. Basically, it has to apply to all property over 2,200. And again, we can have discretion. We said in Fannin County, maybe it should be 2,000, not 2,200. We have literally contour maps of the whole county. We have the national forest mapped out. We literally went into the tax assessor's office, pulled 30,000 property records, sorted them out to understand how things would be affected. And a lot of that goes literally on the septic laws. The septic laws are the biggest increase in basically space of a lot.
What is it with the septic?
Basically, they're looking at the drain fields and the separation of drain fields, and literally how modern technology can overcome that. If you literally don't put it in a drain field on an incline, basically there's pumping mechanisms and other things. I mean, they cost $50,000, $60,000, but when you're building $1.5 million house, it doesn't matter. You got to get the permit. So a lot of this stuff won't be permitted because of the health department regulations. Size of lots is mostly driven by them. We took an opinion that Fannin County is better than every place else, and maybe we ought to be 10% better than the state law on certain things. If the state law didn't address things, maybe we ought to. So we literally initiated a lot of the public safety discussions on basically radius of fire trucks and things, because that's what basically the department heads brought to us, these problems.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Now, I know we've got some builders here. If you see problems in it, if you do see problems, now's the time to come up and talk to us.
I'm a builder here 30 years, Jim Youngblood.
All right.
So when you're talking about the ridge line, you got a lot of properties at the top of the ridge line. So how you gonna determine, you gonna build 100 foot from a property line? Sometimes that's a bad thing. When you got a road, you're supposed to be 55 from the center of the road. I've had to get variance because the septic wanted it a certain way. So I've had to get variance for that. So as a situation, there's ways to go. And I don't know if this is an ordinance that I'm late on it. I didn't even know it, but I don't know if it's ordinances are adopted from other people. I think in the county there would be individual things and the problem we got with things. There's problems in it, yeah, I know. But the 50-foot buffer deal that we're talking about, sometimes you're right on the edge of that buffer. And sometimes you can't help it when you're having a grade and a 4-inch rain count. There's things you can't help, things you can't do. But I agree at the end it's got to be fixed back, silt fences and all that. I
all that's ours. But making it harder on us ain't gonna help. Because making it harder on us, that's gonna make it worse. But if you got a problem with a 50-foot buffer, as the lady said back there, then we need to work a 50-foot buffer. Now, ordinance, some of this stuff, to me, only land dogs can understand it. I don't understand all the verbiage of it. And I think that's a lot of it we need to do is kind of individual, what's changing, what's doing, so that we all understand it.
Well, some of these orders could be written simple. Where-
Yeah,
and forget layman's terms, put it in James' terms. I'm with you.
I'm with you. But that, I just
Well,
want
we
to
can
say.
change that.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Who wrote the amended ordinance? Who did that? Tell us.
The ordinance was put in place in 1986. So we're not,
Who amended, who
the
wrote
planning
change?
commission, there's 5 people on the planning commission. I'm one of them, Zach, Keith, Candace, and Robert Graham. So those are the ones that wrote the amendments into the ordinance, okay? So these ordinances were in place since 1986. We didn't go to Cherokee County, we didn't go to Gilmer County, we didn't go to Pickens County.
I beg to differ. I was involved with that in 1986, and what we did, we went to other places and we incorporated what they had and put it in that. I was there in 1986.
Okay,
Hang
I
on a minute,
understand.
hang on, Barry, one second. I don't think she's referring to 86, I think she's
She
referring to
said
now.
in 1986.
I said the ordinance has
We
been,
made a mistake.
the ordinance has been in place since 1986. I don't know what counties they went to look at it. I just know that it was in place since 1986. Now, it was written by RDC, Regional Development Commission. The county board of commissioners passed it in 1986. The only updates that's been done was 2001, when we did the mount protection, the wetland. There's 4 of them, I can't get them all, Dakota River Corridor, and, I can't ever pull the 4th one out of my head, sorry about that. Those were updated in 2001. I've got the minutes from the commissioner where they were updated. So, yes, maybe they did go there. I wasn't part of the original writing of the ordinance, but it was 1986 when it was put into place. So, the amendments have been done by the planning commission, and once we get it back online tomorrow, most of it is highlighted. So if you have any questions about what's been highlighted, that's the addition. Well, I might have missed one or two. I make mistakes and I'm not perfect, but the highlighted ones in there, highlighted in yellow, is what's been updated, okay? So, and lots of verbiage has been updated.
Thank you, Marie.
Thanks.
Are the ordinances that are there, are they approved now, or are they still up for discussion, or, like I said, a lot of it's like, I didn't even know about
Yeah,
this until.
we have ordinances in place, and the updates have not been approved. That's why we're having these public hearings, is to get input from everyone, so.
Is there a time frame when those are supposed to be updated, or approved by, or is that still an ongoing?
Well, that will be an ongoing, if we pass, if we come to an agreement and we pass,
Okay.
we'll have to go to, I guess, Municode, I guess, is the place where we go to update those. Okay, all right. So once we get everything approved and move forward, then we'll go to Municode and we'll have them updated on our website.
Who approves it?
Once we come up with a solution here, the Board of Commissioners will approve it.
Okay. So, have we met properly to adopt the amendments? Do
We have
feel like
met
we've done
properly.
a good job of that?
We met properly, but I'm not speaking for the other 2 commissioners, do I think that we need to look at this a little bit more? Absolutely.
I think you're right. I
So,
think you need to look
and
at
that's
this.
exactly, I think I said that when we started, we like to hear things. If it's not perfect tonight, we'll look at it again. So that's kind of what we do, so.
I got one question.
Yes, sir.
So we got a planning commission over here that works
strictly for the county. Why don't we get some community involvement, people like Anthony Powell, Daniel Kaler, some of those guys that deal with this stuff every day, let them put their input in on it. I mean,
More than welcome to.
I mean, Daniel sells tons of property, Logan Fitz sells tons of property, and, I mean, they can put some, input into that, you know, to help the commission make a decision.
That's why we're here. We'd love to hear from you, Travis. I'd love to hear from you, Travis.
I'm being quiet.
Daniel's,
I think Shannon's here to speak about the septic stuff.
Travis.
Daniel's here looking at you saying, I wish you would have.
Travis,
Daniel's got real numbers.
Hey.
Listen.
Travis, I know you, okay? So, and you know me, and the thing about, wait a minute now, let me, you had your time, give me a second, because it takes me a while to get my breath going, but, you know for a fact, anybody that wants to sit and tell these people and give their ideas, be more than happy to have you. Because this board of I speak for myself, okay, but I can tell you that this board of commissioners wants to be, we want all this to be a team effort. Because the only thing that we're looking out for is the betterment of Fannin County and its people. So, you've known me for a long time. I only stand for one thing, and it's the right thing to do. And if it's the right thing to do for the people of Fannin, that's what we're gonna do. And if anybody that builds, anybody that's in real estate or whatever, we're here to all work as a team and a unit to make it right.
My only thing is, you know, I'm just saying let some people that's in the community instead of people who work at the courthouse.
Well, we have to, as a board of commissioners in government, you have to set aside certain things. That's the element of it. That's just how it's done. But what you say is very important to what we want to hear it. And these people that's working on this, they're doing the footwork and the leg work, and they're supposed to communicate with you. And you have every right. Every citizen has every right to call one of these people, and they're going to hear you because we demand that. This board of commissioners wants to make the right decision for you. So, anytime you need anything or any builder needs anything from the county, it's an open door policy, buddy. And if you have any problem, you let one of these board members know it. I promise you, we will get to it.
It sounds like he's kind of advocating for a B team. You know, you guys are the varsity team, maybe get a group of people together and then have a spokesperson to come. Because each person individually may have ideas.
And I understand that, but I don't think about B team. I look at subs. I play it like that. We may need a sub to come in and help us, direct us to another one, to look at it a different way. So B team is out the window for me. You're a sub player for me. We're all going to play on the same game.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying, like, if he got, you know, together with 6 people and they came up with a few ideas.
We want to hear them.
Present for this.
Absolutely.
But if 6 people came in and they would have, I'm just saying another sounding board kind of.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
That sounds great.
And we do have public hearings on this, and everybody's welcome to come. They're open to the public.
Their meetings are
Let
open
me,
to the
let me
public.
just say
Please
this if I could. I know what you're saying. You want to be involved, and we're willing to listen. The reason the commissioners picked us, like Robert Graham, he's EMS, so he knows what we need there. Zach Ratcliffe, over the public roads and all, he knows what we need. Marie with land development, I'm with the building, Candace is with the building, but we're all independents. We don't have a chance of making any money off of these roads. You get all developers and all real estate people, they're going to do what they need to put more money in their pocket. So, I mean, I think the commissioner's done a great job so far. Like I said, we're willing to listen to anything y'all got to say. That's the reason we went through a committee we've got now.
With that being said, we got 25 out of 5, we got 5 minutes. Just call.
I'm like Barry Ross, I don't need no microphone. I've been here 52 years building. Lived here a little longer than that. 52 years, I've never built a house for anybody under 35 years old. Don't you think about that? You gotta be an old man before you can afford to build anything in Fannin County. y'all think about your rules, please, 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 think about my grandkids, your grandkids, your children. What's the effect that we're making the decision today gonna do for them down the road? Okay? Joe and I sit in a lot of committees. I don't always agree with what Joe says. I don't agree with what he said today. I still respect him, but I don't agree with him. Sitting in a house 100 foot below the road brings in all kinds of talk if it's on a steep grade. The more costly it is, the less opportunity that the young people have to have a home. What's the American dream? To own a home.
Yep.
Am I right or wrong?
We hope that's it.
How many people in this house, in this building, own the home? Owns a home? How many of your children own a home? How many of your grandchildren own a home?
14 years old.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
So everybody that's trying to make a decision here today, please, please, please consider not what it's gonna do for Fannin County today, or what it's gonna do for your pocket today, what's it gonna do for your children 10, 15, 20 years down the road from today? Okay? I mean, that's about all I gotta say about it.
I'm gonna stand up for Larry to agree with something Larry just said. And I'm
You
gonna
don't agree.
let the group know that our committee that was formed to look at mountain protection also was asked to look at affordable housing, which we were actually putting on our list after we finished land use. And we'll have to see how many of our committee members want to go forward. But it is on the chairman's agenda that this be looked at by a citizens group. And literally, our group literally had 100% citizens. We had every single department manager in, we had the health department in, we had everybody in to discuss these things with us. So again, I agree with a lot of the comments. We need a broadening and further discussion. And again, I think it would be really good. A public hearing is a one-way street. We give input, not much by law reply. That's best done in a workshop. And I just want to use a model. 20 years ago, Fannin County was 20 years late in implementing the state law for building codes and building inspections. I built in the 80s, there was no inspection. I built in the 90s, the inspector took both checks on the first inspection, never came back. I guarantee it's improved. I built in the teens, and basically the rules are more enforced. That said, literally, I believe each area that we're in discussion on needs to have a workshop. When we did building codes, Mayor Stevens of Morganton was basically in front of me, not Anita Weaver, and we proposed to the building association. There was articles, we don't want no rinky-dink building code system. And Randy Collins was sitting up front as a builder, and Barbara and I went to the Builders Association and posed the question: will the state law be implemented within 50 years? Everyone agreed. Then we said, would it be more reasonable to do that while you have a commissioner in the chair to help influence all that? And they agreed that was appropriate. At that point, we started, and this is under Fannin's future, we started public workshops. We actually had town hall meetings in fire stations around the county, gathering our input. Then we basically, on the topic of the building codes, we literally had a panel in this room of 6 people who were ready to answer any questions the public had. And those things went on for a couple of times until we had enough knowledge and enough consensus with the Builders Association to actually pass the ordinance. So I suggest 3 workshops: 1 public utilities, 1 public safety, and then we should get to the mountain protection ordinance, which our committee was charged to look at. Thank you.
Thank you.
You have like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So I am here as an agent. Obviously, a lot of y'all know that. Thanks. What I would encourage everyone to think about is the implications of a lot of these policies on the economy as a whole for Blue Ridge and Fannin County, because we are a tourism-based economy. So whether it's real estate in terms of sales, development, building, rentals, all of these restrictions with growth are necessary, but we have to take into account that too many restrictions are not listening to these people that obviously have concerns, can negatively impact our economy on our front, because we're already seeing it as agents with the rules that were passed with rentals. You know, the conversation about septic tanks and requirements on, yes, per septic rating, things that have been passed are just beyond me and violations of property rights. I mean, a lot of people, they're gonna suffer from a lot of the rules that were already passed. So I definitely think having conversations with these people that are boots on the ground. I understand Marie Woody, everyone that's within these agencies, they do a great job. They're always available, but there has to also be some understanding, because obviously we are a very unique place and we're gonna continue to grow, growing in the right way, but also taking into account that passing these restrictions before having these conversations could truly negatively impact us, because we're seeing it in surrounding counties.
So do me a favor, and the next time something like this comes up, please come to these public hearings.
I've been,
I know you have, but a lot of folks haven't.
yeah.
Please come to these public hearings, and even in between, again, I believe I give you my phone number for these conversations. And if not, I know Daniel got it, and Travis got it, right, got it? I'm just kidding. But my whole thing is, if something is like that, call us. Let's talk about this stuff before we make this, because, again, I keep preaching this, we wanna try to get this as close to being right as possible. And if something don't work, we can't put it in there. But if something does work and you have a better solution, heck yeah.
I'm not saying I have solutions, but I do think, I know it's easy to rake builders and agents across the coals because everyone thinks we're stuffing our pockets, but I definitely think real estate agents here are great economists for this tourism-based economy, because, I mean, we're seeing the amount of people that are coming here, and so it definitely bids well to at least have conversations with us, because my goal is to not only sell $1 million homes. I would love to be able to sell to many of my buyers that are locals here. You know, affordable housing is a huge goal of ours. So having conversations about those things is also our goal. We're not here just to make big wads of cash off of large sales, but we want to help out the locals here.
There's no local here that can afford $1 million house.
I said 7 million.
There's no way.
Hang on.
We agree with that.
Ms. Bishop, have a last one, we'll close this public hearing, so.
Well, I think it's obvious, Jamie, that this needs to be discussed more, and rather than me asking the board to put 2 or 3 more people on it, I'm satisfied with the planning commission the way they exist, but I would ask and insist that you board members have an ad put in the paper 2 weeks, not 1 week, 2 weeks before their meeting, so the public, the builders, developers, surveyors, whoever will know about it. Then they will have their opportunity to come to these planning commissions. A lot of people don't know that. They don't, a week, give it 2 weeks, I think then they have their right to come and tell the planning commission, first of all, what they think, and give them time to consider it. But I would ask that you make that part of, you give them an order to do that, and I'm sure the News Observer will be glad to put it in there, especially if you pay them.
Are you paying? Is he paying you a commission? Not this week. What are you paying?
I want to make a motion, really, I want that done, I think that is critical. The public needs to be informed, that's why you hear all this mess. It's too early to try to rush this thing through.
I'll give you a 4-week notice.
I totally agree with
I
that.
don't need but a 1 week notice,
Well,
as
just
you
in
know,
case
but
you
I'm
get-
a
you're
little
getting
different.
forward.
Some are.
This time next month, on the second Tuesday, this meeting
Yeah.
is on. We have it 8:30 in the commissioners.
Well, I hear you, but I want the whole county to hear it.
That's what
I couldn't hear what he said from back here, so if you're announcing times of the meetings, could we announce it out loud so everyone hears it in the room?
We have the public meetings for the planning commission, usually at 8:30 on the second Tuesday of the month, the same day as the commissioners meeting, but we have it at 8:30 in the morning between the commissioner's office and land development office.
I want it in the paper.
Well, this paper's running down over here.
Well, thank y'all for coming. We will be,
believe you won on that one.
We're gonna take about a 5-minute little break here, and we'll come back for our regular meeting. You're more than welcome to stay. We'd appreciate it if you did. So thank you all for coming. Thank you. Brother Larry Cox, would you lead us in prayer? Sure. For a regular meeting? Sure.
Dear Heavenly Father, once again, Lord, thank you for this day, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for many blessings of life. Lord, you'll continue to be with us here this afternoon, Lord. Continue to let us have open hearts and open minds about the discussion of this. Lord, you bless the officials here tonight, Lord. Let them have the good wisdom that you want us all have, Lord. We ask you to forgive us for our shortcomings before we obey you.
Amen.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, y'all.
Where you been?
Okay. So under unfinished business, we have the approval of the minutes of the January 23rd, 2024 regular scheduled board meeting. Commissioner Patterson, any errors or omissions in those minutes?
I have none, Chairman, thank you.
Commissioner Searcy?
No, sir.
That being said, I'll make a motion that we approve those minutes and ask for a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 3, we have our Executive Director Sherry Morris with the Fannin County Family Connections regarding the fiscal agent for Fannin County. This was tabled from the previous meeting. Ms. Morris had some health issues.
Yes.
First of all, we're thankful to see you.
Well, I'm glad to be back, but my voice is just about gone tonight, so
We'll keep it quick.
we will keep it quick. First of all, a big thank you to those of you here on this commission board. Our whole building generator is now fully operational after an 18-month wait on the switch. And we finally got all the way through that. So now there's no worry for the tens of thousands of dollars of food that we have in the freezer and refrigerators over there. And this also allows us to open as a shelter in the event of a catastrophic event or a warming shelter. And we really do appreciate your generous contribution to that. And we'll be opening the doors for the community to be able to use that.
We're trying to be able to, and the one that Sherry brought that up.
Yeah.
And you guys do a phenomenal job of that.
Well, thank you.
And on a minute's notice. We're very thankful.
Well, we opened for 13 days during December and January, and we served as few as 2 guests at a night and as many as 12 guests at a night. So, and we thank the community because the community comes in and brings all sorts of food and supplies and that sort of thing, and we couldn't do it without this generous community. As we talk about that, we do offer day services for the unsheltered. A lot of people think there's nowhere for our unsheltered neighbors to go, but we do provide a kitchenette area that's totally stocked, so someone who is unsheltered can come in and cook themselves a hot meal. They can take a shower, they can do their laundry, they can use our phone and internet. We also allow them to use our address, because really the barrier for getting a job or anything else is to have an address. And so we allow our unsheltered neighbors to do that as well. Plus, we have a clothing closet there at Family Connection. And last quarter, October through December, we gave away over 10,000 pieces of clothing. And so our community again is always dropping off things for us. And so our unsheltered neighbors also use that community closet.
During Christmas, we helped about 350 families. And when I mean help, that's extra food, that's socks and underwear and gloves and toboggans and all that sort of stuff for the kids. And then we have all sorts of school supplies and that sort of thing. So we work hand in hand with Toys for Tots to do that. For our food pantry, which is what people always talk of, they know us as the food pantry. For fiscal year 23, which ended in June 30 of this past year, 23, we served 23,445 people. That's the number of visits that we had, and that was a total of 8,270 families. Family Connection Food Pantry serves a little more than 1 out of every 6 of our residents. And the number that is growing there the most is our seniors. We had almost a 20% increase in the amount of seniors that we served from 21 to 22 to 22, 23. As well as the unsheltered. I've been at Family Connection 8.5 years. I've never seen it the way it is now. We have so many people who are living in their cars. So many more than 5 years ago and exponential from when I started 8.5 years ago. So I think as a community, we need to, we do need to look at that. So the reason I'm here tonight is that it's time for us to do our contract with the Georgia Family Connection Partnership. And we ask that you serve again as our fiscal agent. So this will be for FY 25. That will begin July 1st this year, go to June 30 next year. And you guys, as the Board of Commissioners, have served as our fiscal agent for many years, and we certainly appreciate that.
Thank you. Commissioner Patterson, any discussion on that?
No, I have none. They really, we couldn't do it without. It's just a great thing that Sherry has experienced, has been there forever, and it just keeps getting harder, as Sherry said.
Yeah, it does.
We all need to work together to serve our homeless.
Mr. Patterson, or Cersei?
I don't think it's gonna let you forget that one.
Okay.
Really?
No.
Hey, I got more hair than him, No, I'm just blessed to be a part of it. Awesome, and I mean, that's what it's all about. We're here to help, so I'm just happy to be a part of it. Thank you for the job you do.
Thank you.
Like they say, I appreciate the job you do. Didn't realize till I got in this position exactly how much you did. So it is amazing what you do and for this community. And my thoughts are, if we've been the fiscal agent, up to this point, since it's not now, but that being said, I'll make a motion to continue to be Family Connections fiscal agent, and I'll ask for a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Thank you, Commissioners. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, under new business, number 4 is board discussion and action on the Fannin County ordinances. And we just heard, from various people, and we're thankful that we heard from all of them, on at least one of these ordinances. So I think at this time, we just kind of look at the 13 ordinances, whether to advance or not. The first one being the land development ordinance, and I think in my mind, the overwhelming response is, let's table that for further discussion.
I agree.
So that would be my recommendation. I'll put that up for discussion.
I think it's obvious that there's more work needs to be done. So, yes, I'm in agreement with you, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
So we want to have another meeting before the commissioners meeting?
I think that we.
More input?
More input.
I think more input too.
That would be my recommendation is, I think after tonight, I think we'll get some phone calls and some emails. And it'll give us time. It will give us time to sit down and look at those. maybe help us make the best decision moving forward, so.
Well, I didn't give your number out.
I know you did. And everybody says, Johnny said he called you.
Johnny's got cars,
Yeah.
pinning them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, call me, yeah. It's got Jamie's number on it.
So to clarify, I'm saying we might not need a meeting on the first 12, but just get people to, have people as they come talk to us. Is that what you're thinking?
Well, I think,
Or we need to have a public meeting as well?
I mean,
Or is it just on that one?
I think it's just on that one, because I think, best I can remember, I don't think anybody was
No, there was nobody.
against
We were
mobile
talking
home
about-
recreation.
we were talking about that
Parks,
with this.
parks ordinance.
Yes, excuse me, we might need to do something else on number 8,
Could
the
we table
local
number
home and
8?
recreational park ordinance.
Are there any other ordinances?
On number 10,
Mhm.
there is a reference, Shannon brought it to my attention tonight, standing here after the meeting. There's a reference in the septic ordinance, and he says that it is to the wrong code section, and he just called it tonight.
Okay, I mean, that's just something that we need to fix, and I was aware of things like that
That's an easy
happening.
fix, just
Yeah,
numbers.
it's an easy fix, yeah, I would say something.
Well, so, but what I'm saying is, I think you could pass the septic tank ordinance subject to correcting it to the,
Code section.
the correct code section. I think number 8 though does have to have a little bit more tweaking.
So 8 and 2 is the only one that we wanna table?
No,
We're gonna look at 8, 2, and 10.
I thought 10 was,
septic is just code section.
Yeah.
Code section.
Okay.
Code section.
Yeah.
I think we can go ahead with 10, you're just gonna have to have the correct code section.
Okay.
it had too much stuff in the tank, so that takes some out.
And here's another thing, just want everybody to be aware of. If we do pass any tonight, if somebody feels like they didn't have a chance to speak, or feels like that we missed something, or there's something, we can always go back and amend that particular ordinance. So,
I was just jotting down notes while ago on the driveway ordinance. The question actually, she was, you said that she could answer, but she wasn't here yet. When the lady was talking about, I'm sorry, can the selling agent or, whatever we
I
said.
think that was Larry's question, wasn't it?
so, like, who would the recourse be on?
Yeah.
Me, is somebody, I apologize, I was working on the MOU that we did in just a minute. But if the question is, if I go in and I apply for a driveway and I put it.
no. I think the question was more to the fact that how can the buyer be notified about the steep driveways? Was that not it?
Yeah, he stood up there and he said he was from Florida, and he said that how can he be guaranteed when he does not know that the driveway was this steep?
Because he bought it online, he doesn't.
Well,
Buyer
okay.
beware.
I started to say, Georgia is the queen of the caveat emptor states, which means buyer beware. So, if you buy something online, on our plats, where we say, our plats, say, this exceeds a certain grade, but if the actual driveway does, it's kinda like, what if it told you it had Anderson windows and it's got Pelham, or what if it told you it was burgundy and you got up here and you really thought that was red? If you've got a concern about some of those things, it's your job to hire an agent that's gonna come and.
Due diligence.
Yeah.
They've gotta do their own due diligence.
Yeah.
Well, that's right, that's like the driveway that the lady was talking about as one driveway, and now they're doing this development. you sold that property. So you had to know that, you know, that's not nobody's fault but you for selling the property. I mean, I hate to be mean, but it's just the truth.
I was there where her husband gave the driveway easement.
Well, I mean, that's, see, that's what I'm trying, you know, I've been told not to say too much, but those are the things, though, that you don't understand, that people just don't, and I didn't either. I mean, I've sat back there, and I've watched some of these commission meetings, and then I didn't really, because I was a cop, and I didn't really understand their part, because I just go by the law. And then when you get here, I mean, some of these things that pop up like that, it's not the county's responsibility to make sure that you cover yourself when you sell your land.
Amen.
And it's not our responsibility, it is yours. And if you don't want somebody to build next to you, don't sell them the land. I mean, but anyway, I'm shooting paper balls at me.
I just skipped back a little bit, Sherry, I don't know about you.
Okay.
All right, so, we need to go through this.
I think that would be perfect for the minutes.
So, number 2 on the land development ordinance, gentlemen, I make a motion that we table this for further discussion. And ask for a second.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Number 3 is the building and electrical ordinance. Gentlemen, I make a motion that we accept this ordinance as written. And ask for a second.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. Number 4 is the driveway ordinance. Once again, I know there were some concerns about that, but at the same time, I think everybody understood why we were trying to do that. And again, I want to reiterate this again. If we pass something and something is wrong, we need to go back and look at it, we can come back and amend that. So, that being said, number 4, the driveway ordinance, I'll make a motion that we pass that as written, as updated and written. Ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Could I ask a question, please?
Yes, sir.
When you say it can be amended, you're actually talking about bringing it back through a public hearing process, because that's the way you change
Yes.
ordinance, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Number 5, no, we sure don't want to do that behind closed doors. Number 5 is the E911 ordinance. Once again, I'll make a motion that we accept that ordinance as updated and written. Ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 6 is the dilapidated building ordinance. I'll make a motion that we accept that one as updated and written. And ask for a second.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 7 is the manufactured homes ordinance. We'll make a motion to accept that one as updated and written, and ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 8, gentlemen, as we've heard in discussion, we feel that this needs to be tabled as well for further discussion on this one. Any discussion on that?
No, sir.
No.
All right, so that being said, I'll make a motion that we table the mobile home and recreational vehicle parks ordinance, and ask for a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 9 is the scrap tire ordinance. I think I'm gonna look at that one again. I'm just kidding. I'll make a motion that we accept the scrap tire ordinance as updated and written. Ask for a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 10 is the septic ordinance. Once again, I think the stipulation was we passed this with the subject to using the correct code section. So, that being said, I'll make a motion to pass the septic ordinance, subject to using the correct code section, and ask for a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 11 is the sign ordinance. We good with that one too? Okay. All right. So, sign ordinance, I will a motion to, approve that ordinance. Where it's updated and written.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
before we Do that, does that include the political signs and all
Yes, sir.
that? I say.
All in favor? That scared me. All in favor? Aye. Number 12 is a solid waste ordinance.
I do have, wait a minute, one more question.
We're done passing.
Yeah. That makes fair, man. Well, I mean, on that right there, they're gonna be like a deposit too when people does do that?
There is a deposit, yes.
And will we give suggestions on that?
What do you mean? So there's a $300 deposit, that's been in the ordinance since it was written back in the sign ordinance. We haven't changed that part of it, so any candidate is supposed to make a deposit to the clerk of the board of commissioners. And the
Okay.
receipt's given.
So you
And
just,
it will be deposited, that
Okay.
we've asked for that to be done.
okay, that's good.
And then they will be reimbursed if they take their signs back up after the elections is over.
Okay, cool, you can move
Okay.
on, I'm ready.
All right. So number 12 is a solid waste ordinance. Gentlemen, I make a motion that we accept the solid waste ordinance as updated and written.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And number 13 on the list would be the speed limit ordinance and speed zone ordinance. I make a motion that we, accept that ordinance as, updated and written as well.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so that takes care of those ordinances. We have the two that were tabled. Once again, we'd like to hear some input on the rest before we make that determination, so thank you all. All right, moving forward, we have a variance request from Philip and Carol Noyes. Is Mr. and Ms. Noyes here? Anybody in favor of that or oppose it? Okay, so, gentlemen, I'll be honest with you, I hadn't had a chance to go out and take a look at this one. I'll tell you a lie. Yeah. I hadn't had a chance to go out and take a look at this one, but, I know they're wanting to place a garage 14 feet from the edge of Price Road and 19 feet from the center line. Did either one of y'all have a chance to go take a look at
I
that?
tried to find it, I couldn't find Price Road.
Okay.
I just looked it over.
Just to be honest with you,
Keith, what about you?
I didn't know anything about this variance.
Okay. But looking at the paperwork, it looks okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went through Chestnut Gap all the way to Highway 2. And I couldn't find Price Road.
it's off Laurel Crossing, I believe, is what I'm saying.
Price Road, if you're familiar with where the little water plant is,
Yeah.
there on Chestnut, go out through there beside it, it goes back in there to Price Road, and you can actually come back out on tennis court then.
Okay.
Yeah, come out on Sunrock on the tennis court.
My only concern was it's 14 feet from the edge of the road. I mean, just by looking at the paper, that's my only concern, and, without, for me, I mean, if you guys want to pass it, you're more welcome to, but for me, it was a matter of finding if we're gonna go straight in from Price Road or at an angle in from Price Road. That was my only concern.
Well, you wanna table it, or do you wanna?
We don't have anybody here.
We don't have anybody for or against.
No.
My recommendation would be for us to table it, to go back out there and take a look at it, maybe give, Keith as well, an opportunity, if that's all right. And again, my apologies, I just didn't have a chance to look at this particular one. So, I'll make a motion to table this, until our next regular meeting, to give us an opportunity to go take a look at it. I'll make that motion, ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 6 is a variance request from the Luxton Blue Ridge Mountains LLC to request the interior road from 40 to 25 feet of right-of-way. Ordinance states 12 units per acre where water and sewer is present to allow the construction of townhomes. Any discussion on this?
We've seen it, it's a big project over there, it's awful, because we had a lot of rain, but, I thought we were looking at more, maybe a moratorium, were we?
Yeah, I'll come up in here just a second, and, I'll just say, I think the Luxtons have come to us asking for the, for this variance request, but I think wouldn't be able to do anything until the moratorium is lifted. I think that's kind of where we're at, because it does fit that rule, its purpose, so I think they're just trying to get the variance, when it does lift, they can start working on it.
Right, okay,
Commissioner Sargent?
I'm good with that.
Looking at the
Can you read the request again, please?
Sure, it's to request the interior road from 40 feet to 25 foot right away. Ordinance states 12 units per acre where water and sewer is present to allow the construction of townhomes. This will be going up by, what is that set of apartments up there? Chapel Drive.
Off behind the new Harbor Freight.
Harbor Freight up on the hill.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
That's on that first, subdivision that they're building,
First phase.
right there, first phase.
Right, right off Chapel.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
All right, that being said, I'll ask for a motion to approve this variance request.
I'll make a motion.
I'll ask for a second.
A second.
All in favor? And I will put the conditions of that variance on here as well. Okay, the next one is, for discussion and action on a variance request for Jeffrey Scott Duncan and Holly Lee to build a garage 18 feet from the edge of Fawn Trail and 25 feet from the center line. Is there anyone here that's opposing this particular variance request, or anyone here for it?
I'm here, I'm for it.
Okay.
I'd just like to make a point. On the previous one you tabled, that road is 10 foot wide, this road is 14 foot wide. My question would be, how much access is needed through there, and will it ever have to be a public road? Will it have to be widened to be an appropriate two-way road?
I don't think it's gonna be a public road, it's
Okay,
it
it's
would
not a
be.
public road. Okay.
No, I think it's gonna be in a, you know those apartments up behind Harbor Freight? Now they're up on the hill, gonna be that same setting in that sense. So I think if they're gonna continue to be private roads, if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, Peters Knob was a private road until y'all took it over because they couldn't afford to maintain it, it was built in properly. So I know that one for a fact.
Jamie didn't take it over.
Huh?
Jamie didn't take it over.
Yeah, the county took over the center road.
County did.
The county did, yeah.
I know I'm referred to as the county. Jamie didn't take it.
I
love that.
Hey, neither did I.
maybe we could.
The county used to bring us a little gravel 56 years ago.
And we let it be a public road, so that was my comment. These are very narrow roads, you need to be careful of.
We're aware of that, and, anyway. So is anyone here? Mr. Duncan?
Yes, sir.
Sorry about that.
My wife sent me here.
Good man. No shame, my wife sent me here too. You gotta make sure you get that paycheck in.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, any discussion on this?
none.
I have none, Mr. Chairman.
All right, make a motion that we approve this variance request for Mr. Duncan and Miss Lee, and ask for a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Otherwise, I sure am glad that Mr. Patterson reminded us that tomorrow is the day. Thank you so much for that, sir.
Valentine's coming.
And number 8 is a variance request from Wind River Properties to build within 30 feet of Wild Goose Lane. Is anyone here that opposes this variance request? Anyone here for it?
They left, they was
There
here.
you go.
They thought it was next month.
Any discussion on this variance request, gentlemen?
No, sir, I know where it's at. I have no,
The lots are very steep.
Okay. That being said, I'll ask for a motion that we approve this variance request for Wind River Properties.
I'll make a motion.
Ask for a second.
I second.
All in favor? So number 9, we have a memorandum of understanding between Fannin County and Fannin County Economic Development Authority. Stop, you care to kind of help us
Yes,
out on
and I
that one?
apologize. One of the things I was doing when I wasn't here was actually finishing that up. The Development Authority and the county have an over 50-year partnership of working together. Sometimes for various reasons, often financial. The authority can build and do things that the county cannot do. And, from time to time, the authority will build and has built, buildings, spec buildings. Sometimes those get sold and come back to us, get sold and come back to us like ping pong balls. But the memorandum of understanding is to satisfy a requirement from the county's insurer, Association of County Commissioners, that as part of the financial contribution that the county makes to the authority will be to include those policies, those properties on its umbrella policies. And the cost of doing it is next to nil because it's part of the blanket policy, but it does mean that if somebody falls and breaks a leg or a building burns down, there's coverage.
that's good.
It's very good.
All right, gentlemen, any discussion on this MOU between us and Economic Development?
No, sir.
I don't have any.
All right, that being said, I will make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding and ask for a second.
I second.
All in favor? Aye. Number 10, we have our Recreation Director Eddie O'Neill regarding the pool and gym fees. That almost sounds like we're getting close, sure.
We're getting close.
Or,
Do you have copies of those fees?
yeah.
I got that one too.
So we worked with the Recreation Board to come up with fair, affordable fees for the pool usage. And we called around to every county in our areas, and we matched right up with what most all are doing. So we have the daily pass fees all the way for $5 individual season pass for $65, individual season pass for a non-resident, $125. Family season pass for a family up to 5 members would be $125, and $25 extra for larger families. Family pass for non-residents would be $200 up to 5 members, $35 for each additional. Pool party rentals, so rentals for the pool party would be $100 per hour, a 2-hour max, and $25 a lifeguard. So, and that they would pay that fee out of their pocket directly to the guards, the lifeguards. And that number of lifeguards just depends on how many guests are using the pool, and we'll set that for them. That makes sense.
Senior fees,
I'm sorry.
senior citizens.
No, John, you can't get in free.
I don't wanna get in free, but I just wanna make sure, you know, I mean, is
That's
it
$5.
$5?
$5, can't beat that.
Hey, man, you got, you know,
And also, there is,
handicaps are given that.
yeah, and we can do the handicap for free. I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. The pool is handicap accessible with the lifts and everything in it. The rec board does advise no pool party rentals for any non-residents, just for, and I've called to several directors of different counties, and it tends to turn into destruction of property for non-residents. They're in, they're out, they could care less, so, that would be one of the stipulations there.
Okay.
Gym usage daily fees, we would like to just jack that up and double everything for non-residents. What we charge, currently we charge $5 for a non-resident to use the gym. The walking track is free, so we'd like to change that to $10. A monthly pass would go from 25 to 50, the 3-month pass 75 to 150, the 6-month pass would increase from 125 to 250, and the yearly pass from 250 to 500. And this would be for the Polk County folks. We don't want to charge those. Most of that is young teenagers coming to shoot basketball, and we typically know where they are. But the cost of refinishing our floors, I think we spent $16,000 to refinish them a couple of months ago. And the main usage is pickleball during the day. And we're glad to have them, but we have a ton of non-residents come in from Blairsville, Gilmer, Pickens. They come here to play because we have that indoor courts, right? And not only does it kind of push residents out of the way, but those guys, it's almost to a point where we're gonna have to refinish courts every year. There's just so much usage of it, and it won't last that long. So we'd like to recoup some of that out of non-resident fees, if that makes sense.
I understand that. How's that road working out for you?
The road's wonderful, but, yeah, everybody loves the road, especially about 5 o'clock of the evening.
And how's the progress at the city park?
City park, the pool, we, by the end of this week, we should be complete at about 70%. So, the very little concrete, only real concrete work left is outside of the pool area around it. And we're on the inside of both buildings, the pump house and the actual pool house. So we should be done earlier than we expected. So they may be able to turn that over to me earlier so we can get our people hired and trained. We need at least a 2-week training period before we open the pool on the 27th of May. Yeah.
I guess the splash pad will go next?
Splash pad is poured. All the splash pad needs is we'll put down the life floor and then just do the attachments. It's poured and drains. It's almost ready to go.
Awesome.
Yeah. The pool's poured, the tiles in, they poured the coping. The only thing left is the finish on the inside of the pool.
Too big and too old.
Talking
It
about
costs $5.
Trying to get off. I'm paying $5, he's paying
I'm rude.
I'm a senior too, so.
Besides, it is at your home.
What are you talking about? Sit up there.
Kids. All right. But that's our thinking of the gym usage fees, is to recoup some of the non-resident usage and hopefully even slow it down, honestly.
Okay, thank you, man.
Yeah, so kids over
That's
there.
good.
All right, gentlemen, any discussion on it?
No, sir.
No, sir.
I'll just be honest with you, I'm excited that this is in front of me because it means we're getting a whole lot closer to making that thing happen.
Yes, sir.
So I'm very excited, you've done a great job and I appreciate it. It's good that we're trying.
And all time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, I'll make a motion that we approve this resolution, to establish fees for the Fannin County Parks and Rec. And ask for a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We need to make sure that we do include the handicap for free. All right, so we'll.
You can just write that in.
I did write it. Handicap free, so
I'll get you a clean
And
attachment.
senior.
we will go with that.
Clean attachment.
Hey, I like to swim.
That's what I'm looking for. All right, so number 11, we have Ms. Woody, Land Development. She has a resolution on Hazardous Waste Trust Fund application for reimbursement.
Actually, Sherry has it in the file, but it is a resolution for the county commissioners to sign to be able to get our $98,000 from the Solid Waste Trust Fund back. We applied for it last year, the paperwork got lost in the mail, we never received it, so they've just sent it back to us this month. So if we get that signed, we'll get our $98,000 and change.
Boy, that's a change. Bring it from down here. Oh. Well, I vote sign that thing.
Any discussion on this, gentlemen?
I have that.
All right, so again, we'll make a motion to approve this resolution on the Hazardous Waste Trust Fund application for reimbursement. Ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Tell me Larry's name. There goes that 98,000.
She really is on the, her name.
Yeah,
They're gonna double team me.
All right, so
that don't bother me.
number 12 is Fire Chief Larry Thomas and Deputy EMA Director Patrick Hood, approval of equipment bid.
If you remember last year, we requested some tankers from Georgia Forestry. And went on the route last year and they're unable to find the chassis for these tankers. So we had to back up and look at Plan B. And so we'd like to request bids from some different manufacturers to get some new tankers. Looking at probably two 2,000-gallon tankers and one 4,000-gallon tanker. And this time request to get bids, and hopefully open those first meeting in March. And I believe that's still, it would be under the ARPA funds. But, trying to go a different route from what we previously looked at.
And that was 6, right?
It was
It was 4, and those were how much a piece?
92
92 and some change, I believe.
and
That's I remember.
those were on used chassis. We'd like to look at getting some new trucks on new chassis and see what kind of price we get on those. We think we can probably get to 3 for less than the 500,000 we did talked about originally.
And so you have people that's in that you can contact her as,
Yes, we have to advertise it and put it on the internet as well, and open up to bidding for anyone.
and this fund, this ARPA fund will cover this?
Well, we had the money approved last year for those from Georgia Forestry.
Oh,
It was,
so it could be cheaper.
had to go to plan B. But these would be brand new, top to bottom. It's everything, right?
Yes, new chassis, new tank.
And how many gallons is that?
So we'd like to look at two 2,000 gallon and one 4,000 gallon. The ones from Georgia Forestry are gonna be between 2,000 and 2,500. We talked about it, I think that maybe one 4,000 in the fair and middle, but I think going in any direction would be a good option for us, so.
Okay.
Well, it's about 4 times the water that it would shuttle that we have now.
The current engines are 1,000 gallons, so.
And you just asked us to put it out for bid, right? Any discussion on that, y'all?
Good.
Good. I'll make a motion, we put this out for bid. Ask for a second.
I'll second.
All in favor? You need to think fast. Third thing, we have, Public Works Director, Zach Rackford.
Good afternoon. We picked up a Gatormade trailer a couple of months back, and I would like to get a couple more of those things. I have seen just exactly how safe they are and how much use we get out of those. We've got one right now that we're having to shuttle equipment. We'll send the piece of equipment out with that trailer and dump the piece of equipment off and go back and get the second or third piece of equipment. So we're needing to get, we got trucks to pull them, so I like to get the trailers. The price on these 2 trailers, $26,980. They're 5 feet wide, 16 feet long, they're 16K, 17.5 tires on them. They're the cat's meow for trailers. We kind of tell you kind of the story behind them. We just had gotten that trailer, and when town was on fire over here, we had to come in that night and push the walls in, keep them from falling out the streets. And of course, everything's dark down there. That trailer has deck lights on it. It was so nice that night, we could, and you not have booth ramps. It raises up, back off the equipment. You don't have to worry about getting off the sides. It had those lights on it.
Much safer.
Oh, yeah, and nobody's gonna get hurt raising ramps or fall off or ground. Man, those things are, I'm telling you, they're great. So it might save us one back injury or somebody getting hurt bad, probably could buy 2 or 3 more of them, so just say.
And your, funds
Lost.
out of the spot?
Yes, sir, out of the SPOS funds.
Okay.
Is that the same price we got on the last?
Exactly, yep. Yeah, I thought if we get 2, we might get a little better, but he couldn't do that.
At least it didn't go up.
No, absolutely. He asked me, he told me, he said I could use the same estimates I had on before. He said they did not go up. They're all still the same, so.
When you get them?
I could get one in the morning if I wanted. The other one's in Somerset, Kentucky. He'd have it delivered by the first of next week.
Okay. And what are you doing with the other ones?
I'm getting rid of them things.
Okay.
I mean, they're already torn up anyway, so they're really not even good to me. So we'll put them on good deals and
Parking
Oh,
out
I'm telling you, you can take a one-man job with that. You know, the others, it was a couple guys lifting ramps and afraid somebody's gonna hurt their back or whatever else goes on with that kind of stuff, so. Wet weather, go right up there with not a problem. You just have to see an action, it's unbelievable. How great they are.
All right, Commissioner Fannin,
I'm good with it. Sounds good, we need it.
Commissioner Searcy,
I'm okay.
and this will carry everything we got.
Yep, yep,
Squads.
yep.
All right, and so I'll make a motion to purchase two of those, trailers, in the amount of $26,980. Ask for a second.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Putting stickers on them too, man.
Oh, yeah.
You know the
Decorations,
stickers up top?
decorations is coming.
All right.
Hey, guys, I got Brandon, he's back here, he's got a company that, clears right away. And I think you're up in Tennessee somewhere right now? And, he's cleared this, from the ground to sky, he calls it. And, I'd like to hire this guy to do, we got 2 miles on, up on Deep Gap, that's 2 miles in, 2 out. And I'm gonna do, 1 mile on Logan Road, in and out. So we're going to see what this is all about. And this may be something we can do a couple times a year, or once a year, or something. We gotta see what it's about. He can, what do you got, 90 feet reach?
75.
Huh?
75.
75 foot up. And, his crew will come in, they'll set up traffic control, they will pick the brush and chip it. We won't have to do anything, and he will take care of every bit of it. So with those mileage that we're talking about, it's $52,000. So if I took some of my guys out there, and we got a bucket truck, but we would never get that kind of mileage. I mean, we've done it before out there, and it's day in, day out, and you've got everybody tied up on that one job. So with this being said, we can turn him loose, he can clear out some, this is a kind of a problem area we got. It's actually on the south side of the Deep Gap, but believe it or not, that thing keeps, the canopy is really so bad. In the wintertime, we got freezing conditions all the time during the day, never get sunlight on it like it should. So with us cleaning that up and getting that sunlight in there, we're gonna help the road, because that was one of the major places, if we had to pave the road, it was coming apart because we're having to solve it so much.
Yeah.
And icing it.
Well, it must be important because you come up here and presented this to us.
Very important, I think.
So traffic control will be,
Brandon,
you handle traffic control and all?
Yes, sir. We'll handle the traffic control as the term we like to use is ground to sky. We'll go 2 foot behind the white line, cut up 75 foot high. All the debris, brush, everything will be cleaned up and removed off site.
Okay. Zach, you'll be taking care of your bit of counties.
Yes, this is a hometown guy too, so
Okay.
this is a homegrown business, so.
Okay.
He's a gangster though, I'm telling
I'm an outlaw too.
Yeah.
All right, so funds, this will come out of your
Splosh also.
Splosh funds
Yes, sir.
too?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Fannin, anything?
No, sounds good to me.
Well, I honestly believe it's worth a try.
Jamie, if I can say this.
Yes, sir.
Not only is not only is it going ground to sky 75 foot, but if you look going down the roads, you see the limbs hanging over, but there's also hazardous trees leaning over already. Well, when we cut the top out of that, it's just gonna leave the stop. We plan on going out and cutting those stops off and cleaning that part of it up as well.
That's good.
So it's not only just ground to sky, that's just the term we like to use, but
So
there's
anything that's
more
legal.
hazardous trees to that than just the limbs,
Yeah.
so to speak, but.
Well, I'd say the paving and everything we've done, we'll see to that.
I like to conserve that road as much as we put quite a bit of money in that road, and, knowing what we know about that road. And I got this side of the gap done, you know, when we went up there a couple years ago, and it was like, I think we spent a month and a half up there and just done maybe half a mile, you know, it's pretty bad up there, so.
How long do you think?
Both of those sections, week and a half.
So it took us over a
seeing this up there.
Well, no other discussion, gentlemen, I'll make a motion that we, hire this company to do that, and ask for a second.
A second, mention where the funds are coming out.
Over from SPLOST.
Yes, 100%. Yep.
All right, all in favor?
Appreciate that, guys, and I think you guys want to see it.
When you gonna start?
Tomorrow.
Oh, I'll come
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Jamie, as long as Johnny, he wants to get in the pool for free, he come drag brush for a little while.
I'll pay his,
Shut
I'll
up.
pay him in.
I didn't say anything about free.
Oh. All right, so number 14, is it's an interlocal agreement between the state of North Carolina, County of Cherokee, the state of Tennessee, County of Polk, and the state of Georgia, and County of Fannin. Ladies and gentlemen, I can read this, and then I can kind of get a little quick on it if we need to, but I think it's worth reading in my mind. So, this is a resolution, like I said, between the three states. It's Fannin County Arise Planning Grant Application. Three Corners EDP Multi-State Infrastructure Project. It says, whereas Fannin County recognizes the imperative to strategize for sustained growth and aims to enhance public services in collaboration with the Three Corners Economic Development Partnership comprising of Polk County, Tennessee, Fannin County, Georgia, and Cherokee County, North Carolina. And whereas the Three Corners Economic Development Partnership qualifies to seek funding through the Appalachian Regional Initiative for Stronger Economics Grant, which comes out to Arise, a program designed to catalyze regional economic transformation through collaborative projects across multiple states, and whereas the Three Corners Economic Development Partnership seeks to apply for an Arise planning grant amounting to $100,000, requiring a 40% match, with this match contribution to be shared among Polk County, Tennessee, Fannin County, Georgia, and Cherokee County, North Carolina. And therefore be it hereby resolved that the Three Corners Economic Development Partnership is duly authorized to undertake all necessary measures to prepare and submit requisite documentation for the Appalachian Regional Commission Arise Grant. Further resolved that Fannin County affirms its commitment to provide a 15% match, fund for the procurement of services from a qualified consultant tasked with delivering planning services for a tri-state infrastructure system. Further resolved that the chairman of Fannin County Board of Commissioners is hereby empowered to execute all relevant documents pertaining to the Appalachian Regional Commission Arise Grant. Further resolved that the chairman of the Fannin County Board of Commissioners is authorized to enter into a interlocal agreement with Polk County, Tennessee, Cherokee County, North Carolina, addressing the Arise Grant and broader Three Corners EDP initiatives. So, gentlemen, kind of bring you up to speed on this. You know, as we look forward, we was talking about looking forward, and as we look forward, you know, we look for we know our infrastructure's had issues in the past. Here's a possibility by using a multi-state grant from the Appalachian Regional Commission to help us out with three sources, and that would be water, sewer, and natural gas. So obviously we don't know if we'll be able to qualify for it, but according to the Appalachian Regional Commission, there's only one other place that is like this, and that involves, I believe it's Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama. They call it the Golden Triangle, I believe is what it's called. Here's an opportunity for a second Golden Triangle, and it would help us out immensely moving forward with this larger task, because we know the expense associated with anything to do with water, sewer, and natural gas. So this first grant will be $100,000, and that is to hire somebody to come in and tell us, hey, is it feasible to do that? So we've had a couple of meetings with the other two states, with Polk County this is, you're taking out the boundaries is what you're doing.
Taking out the what?
Taking out the boundaries. You're looking at a true
Is this
region
for-
here.
Is this for the entire county or just the area?
It's where they come together. So for us, for instance, you know, we do have water and sewer in that area. Polk County has water and sewer in that area. And Cherokee County would be able to extend their water down to meet all that, and then we could actually go out into the counties with that. Natural gas would be another. We have natural gas up here to, I believe it's Cross Mingles, if I'm not mistaken. So that would be an opportunity for us to run it up to the state line. You know, to be able to extend those services. And that would be for, obviously for future development in the region per se. And to get
That
some.
100,000 is divvied up, or is it each county gets 100,000?
No, it's $100,000 grant. We would each be responsible for a portion of that grant. It's a 40% match. We would each be responsible for a portion of that.
Okay,
To get that grant, to see if we can proceed
okay.
to do that. So, I think that's what we're here asking this evening.
Sounds good.
I think it's good, it's gonna help everybody, Polk County and, North Carolina. I mean, it's good to be in a partnership like that, we can help people.
We'd be able to do it, well, we could possibly, but it would cost a lot more.
Yeah.
This really helps.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned water, sewer, natural gas.
Mhm.
Is there anything like this that would include high-speed internet?
So there are grants out there now for high-speed internet, that a lot of the, so like ETC, for instance, they applied for a grant, and they're expanding on that now. TDS has also applied for a grant, I'm not sure whether they got it or not, to expand that across the county. And, I know Blue Ridge Mountain EMC, had applied for the grant. Once again, I'm not sure if all I know is ETC got a grant, and they're putting that to pretty good use. So
we are working on getting high-speed internet around the county.
yes, sir. Yeah. All right. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
I have none.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we accept this resolution and ask for a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Do we have a date when we can get this? I guess we'll have to wait for them to get back to us.
We will. I know the paperwork has to be submitted by the end of this month. And we also have our regional commissions, like Northwest Georgia Regional Commission and Polk County's equivalent, and Cherokee County, North Carolina's equivalent, working on this as well. So it is there's a lot of people working on this to see if we can make this happen. So if it come to fruition, we would be good.
Be nice.
Do we have a point person here in Fannin County that will be working with it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're the
Looking
point
at it.
person?
Everybody says he's the point person. Everybody points to me.
I think that's what that 100,000 is for, because really and truly, it's like they're racing the state lines, and we're all just kind of working together.
And we're so close together.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
gonna help
we
so many
should
people.
have done that a while back, yeah. Available.
And just to be fair, I think this actually, was worked on about 20-something years ago. Had a gentleman tell me that it started about 20-something years ago, and Polk County Commissioner, brought it up again, and he said, well, we do this, and I thought, that's a pretty good idea. I can't see why anybody hadn't done that. You can't find out somebody did, but it just went by the wayside. So, I want to thank, Commissioner Barker, for his insight on that, and then also, Commissioner Stiles from Cherokee County, North Carolina, for saying, yeah, let's make something happen. You know, it's not often that you get Well, it's not often you get counties working together, much less states. So we're very thankful for that, so. All right, that brings us down to public commentary. If anybody has anything, please come up and tell us your name and. Mr. Webb.
This will be very brief. I asked Zach the question. Our bridges, basically, we have lots of ratings on them. What I just heard from the fire is we're getting a 2,000 gallon tank truck. That's 8,000, that's 8 tons of water. So if the truck weighs 2 or 3 tons, we got 12 tons. How many bridges in Fannin County are rated under 12 tons? Because that fire truck could not cross those. So basically, we need a knowledge so we don't send the fire truck in a route over a bridge that won't work.
Okay, we understand that.
Thank you.
You know, obviously, there's a lot of bridges being replaced here in Fannin County. And we hope to have those completed.
You
But we'd like to get the fire trucks in first.
fixed mine really quickly. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
It was only about 6 or 7 months.
I knew you'd be hollering at me if I did. No, I'm just kidding.
I think the one that he's talking about, if I'm not bad mistaken, Patrick, is there not something in the, when they go out to fire somewhere that there's some sort of knowledge of what bridge they can cross, or is there anything yet on that?
Yeah, I believe there is.
Yeah.
There probably is now, but I think with the replacement of the bridges, I think, you know, realistically, that pretty much takes care of 99% of them. There may be one that's slipped under the radar that we don't know about, but I think that does take care of most of it.
So what is the rating on the standard bridge we're trying to build? 20 tons? What, 25 tons? Because Tesla's weigh 8,000 pounds now.
Anyone else? Ms. Holt?
Can you hear me and can everybody, or do I have to go up there?
Is everybody good?
I know I got a loud voice. I just wanted to voice a concern on variances, especially right now when you're looking at the land development ordinance and the mountaintops. And I've been coming to Board of Commissioner meetings for, well, under 3 commissioners anyway. And it seems like variances are passed, and yet I've never heard anybody really come up here except for a few times to explain why the need is. Why do we need so many variances? And usually the reason that is ever given is, well, we bought this lot and it's not buildable unless, well, isn't that buyer beware? Isn't that the same thing we were just talking about? The thing that bothers me or that concerns me or that I'm afraid of is like that 100-foot setback from the ridge line. If it gets set, and that's what it's supposed to be, how many times are you guys gonna pass when somebody comes in and says, well, my septic tank won't fit, and I gotta have my garage to put my car in, so I'm gonna need to be at 75 feet, and then we got a variance. And then whenever that variance gets done, 5 years down the road, you've got the house down here and the one over there that says, well, you did it for him, so you gotta do it for us. The only thing that I'm, you know, and I've had a variance before, only because my driveway became a private road because there were 3 houses on the driveway, and 911 says, now my driveway is a road. So when I built my shed, the shed is actually on the right at the driveway, but it's a driveway. So I do understand the need for variances, but very few meetings do we come to that you don't have 2, 3, 4 variances. And that one variance for that commercial development really concerns me. And I just wanted you guys to kind of think before we're doing all these new ordinances, what good are the ordinances? What good are setbacks? What good are right-of-ways? What good are buffer zones? If all somebody's got to do is just come in and say, hey guys, I can't build the way I want to build unless I get a variance. And the variances are given just like this. Thank you.
You're welcome. So for me, most of the time, if we do have a variance request, I try to go out and look at that. So my thing is, okay, what is the, why can't we do this? Or why can we do this? And I always come back and I try to, get guidance, because, obviously, there's a lot of people who have forgot more than I'll ever know in this. And there have been times where, just to be right honest with you, there's times where there's been things settled out of here before it does come here. And there's been instances, I know, where, in our building department and land development, they went out there and said, hey, you can do this and here's why, And so those don't even come here. So we don't really bring those up, all right, we passed 4 tonight, but, in the past, I know there was 5 that may have been taken care of before it got in here. And when I say taken care of, hey, you meet the setback if you do this. And they're like, oh, I got you. So sometimes that's just a matter of going out there and taking a look at it. But like the one on the table tonight, if they're coming in from a different angle, in my mind, we'll take a look at that. If they're coming in straight off the road, I gotta figure something out, because I think the car may be more, which car it has, maybe more than 14 feet. And I can't have somebody turning straight into a garage from Price Road, for instance. And I just need to make sure that, how they're gonna enter that. And if there is a right of way, there's a lot of variables that come into play. So we try to look at everything that comes across, but just know that there's a lot that come across that we go out there and we take care of before it gets in here. And in that sense, it's showing them that you can build right here. And that's what we suggest. And a lot of them, that's exactly how that happens. So, and we haven't said that, and I know what it was, we hadn't had a variance request in a little bit, to be honest with you. But we had 4 tonight. So, there's that magnifying glass. But I appreciate your concerns, and you brought up something for us to look at, sure. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I may have missed it if y'all had said something. The 10 ordinances we passed, when would they go into effect?
Well, and there's a lot of that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, there's subdivision rules, for instance.
Yeah.
They have covenants and restrictions. It's not our job to police those covenant restrictions or enforce those, You asked us for a variance request, we said, yeah, obviously you can do this, but now you may have to go to your HOA and ask for their permission as well, so that's another thing.
I don't think that the variance, from what Keith was asking, the variance the ordinances.
The
go
ordinances,
into
when do they
effect.
go into effect if we pass tonight?
Don't we have to send them, Lynn, correct me if I'm wrong, don't we have to send them to DCA for review before we put them into
Yeah.
order? So we have to send them to DCA for their
Department of
review
Community Affairs.
before we can say, so, I don't know how long
So I
that's gonna
think
take.
we would, very good question, Keith, thank you for clarifying. I think we'll send the ones that we have ready in this week, and then when they come back, they would come back to Marie or Zach, to your commission, and then you would bring them back in and say, typically, there's a 60-day notice period.
Okay.
For DCA or for us?
No, for us.
Okay.
If it's, now some things like scrap tires, that's not gonna need any time to go into effect. So it's as soon as they give us approval.
Okay, but everything does have to go to the Department of Community
Right.
Affairs for their
And-
review before we can put them out to the public.
So technically for the sign ordinance, the political sign ordinance, we have to follow the old one until the other one's.
That's correct.
Okay.
And then they come in some quicker than
Yeah,
others.
absolutely. And think of it as we haven't reinvented the wheel on any of them, so we should get a very quick turnaround. And will ask, some of them, like the sign ordinance, it needs to be effective as soon as this season.
Right.
All right, anyone else? All right, we'll close public commentary. Gentlemen, that brings us to executive session. Y'all have a need for executive session this evening?
I have none.
No, Rick.
Well, do I, so that being said, I'll make a motion, we adjourn and ask for a second.
I'll say.
All in favor?